Gauteng Premier David Makhura has been elected as co-president of the World Congress of the Metropolis at the 12th World Congress, which took place last week in Montreal, Canada. This is a prestigious global platform which pools together the largest gathering of major cities from all over the world, promoting collaborative projects and learning programs between the major cities of the world. This is, no doubt, positive news for the residents of Gauteng. The Congress looks at global challenges facing cities like climate change and migration, amongst many others. Last year, the former mayor of Johannesburg, Parkstown, held this prestigious position. Joburg was recognized at the Congress as being an important economic, cultural and political hub of the African continent. The participation of Gauteng as a province on this platform is seen as a pivotal one, in line with the vision of turning Gauteng into a globally competitive city region. Decisive steps are being taken in a number of ways at present to make Gauteng an integrated city region, characterized by social cohesion and economic inclusion.
I'm Bryce Nicholson and you're watching Joburg Today.
South Africa has an important role to play within the BRICS grouping, both as a gateway to the continent and as a catalyst for African integration. The original acronym BRIC stood for the fast-growing developing economies of Brazil, Russia, India and China. South Africa joined in 2011, and back then it was criticized for its inclusion in the grouping based on the country's relatively smaller population and economy. Well, we caught up with the BRICS Media Company to find out more about how South Africa is contributing by its membership to Africa and how local businesses here are benefiting from this economic association. Welcome, Africa. Great to meet you and great to have you with us today to bring into the spotlight this very important BRICS collaboration amongst these few emerging economies in the world. Take us back to what inspired you to create this journal as a CEO, as the founder of it?
Co-founder.
Co-founder.
We realized that within the BRICS conversation, as normal people, we struggle to find out how we can take advantage of our government being part of a BRICS as a formal body. So as we searched and researched online, trying to figure out, so what's happening in BRICS, what happens in between during the whole year when the presidents are not meeting, where are the opportunities? As a media entity, we then realized that, it might be an opportunity for us to become a platform for critical conversations, critical information that can affect how we view BRICS and the decisions we make towards BRICS.
So who are the stakeholders? Who are the contributors?
Our contributors are experts, professionals from throughout the globe, not even just BRICS, but throughout the world. They are experts, in their particular fields. So what we do is we try to also have a balance so that it represents all the countries within BRICS, but it also represents a lot of the emerging countries that are looking towards associating themselves with BRICS and the opportunities that BRICS might provide. So you'll find that, for instance, in the Africa edition, you'll find some writers from throughout the continent. Yeah. You'll find our guest editor might be from China. In fact, in the current one, our guest editor is from Russia. And we rotate that so that there's always a good balance of the content that's there.
So you've now published four editions?
Yes, that's our fourth one. It should be out in stores in exclusive books and Spar next week.
Yeah.
And that's our fourth edition, yes.
What's the uptake been like, and what does the numbers say? Who are you targeting? Where is the interest for this kind of publication?
Our target is an LSM of 7 to 10. It needs to be people who are professionals that interact or are looking to interact within their business and workspaces within the BRICS countries. Mm-hmm. So you'd find that a lot of the financial, or rather, let me say, investment bankers, your policy makers from a bureaucracy and diplomatic perspective, travelers, people who love traveling, definitely. So anyone who has an interest in having a passport and leaving this country and looking for opportunities or bringing opportunities into this country, the BRICS Journal is for you. The content is it's not a magazine, so it's a journal. So it's hard, well-researched content that lies heavy on the factual side. But obviously, we still give space for people to draw their opinion on what they feel.
From a business perspective, does it make it more palatable to trade with BRICS partners if you're, let's say, a South African business entity?
It is. It is. And the more you read the journal, the more it exposes the many opportunities that exist. If you look at any of the figures from when South Africa joined BRICS, you'll see that the trade numbers in all the BRICS countries have gone up. Just about 2 weeks ago, a delegation from Brazil was here that was focused heavily on agriculture and ICT. So you're then finding that because of the BRICS conversation, it's spearheading, and it has a roll-on effect on more interaction. You're having more delegations coming into the country that are interested in finding some sort of gaps, some sort of opportunities, some sort of means to collaborate within the BRICS space.
In 2010, when South Africa became a member of BRICS, there were all kinds of burning questions that were posed in the media as to, the first one was, why South Africa? And the second one, burning question was, how will the continent benefit? And I see here, looking at your fourth edition, there's a big focus on Africa, Africa's most inspiring leaders, WEF Africa Special, will Trump be great for Africa? So how is Africa as a continent benefiting from South Africa's position within BRICS?
I think to start with your first question is South Africa is a powerhouse within the African discussion. It yields a lot of regional power, both politically and economically. We all know Gauteng is the biggest and most powerful economic province in the continent, with Johannesburg having our richest square mile and so on and so forth. So its influence on the African agenda is well known and accepted. Its infrastructure that it has and the governance and institutions that it has means that for a very governance-based organization such as BRICS, South Africa is probably the best candidate for that. So it means that with a lot of the developments they have, your fiscal discipline, your governance structures need to be in place in order for any of those benefits to ever reach and be carried out. To the second question, it's a question that we looked at even in the previous issue, in saying how can Africans take advantage of the BRICS relationship. The predominant way is that there's an establishment, a bank called the New Development Bank, also known as the BRICS Bank. That BRICS Bank is not limited to BRICS member states. It's open for other emerging countries. It's open for other African countries that have a developmental agenda. It has specific things that it focuses on, such as infrastructure, such as energy, which we know in the continent is a big focus. So definitely the opportunity for other both states and I guess provinces and other state-owned institutions for them to apply for that development funding is an open opportunity for them. The other role within which that BRICS plays is that it allows for more open dialogue in pushing the African agenda when you're asking for assistance. So you'll find that China is now one of the bigger players in the development and funding and financing of African states. But you always need to manage those relationships from a diplomatic level and in line with your African goals. So Africa has an Agenda 2063 which all the African states as part of the African Union are all heading towards. So how do you then make sure you keep in line with that, but you also address your own country's needs from a financing or funding perspective? So it bodes a lot of opportunities for us.
Sure, and we're talking about big trade partners for South Africa and
Most
huge
definitely.
investors for Africa as well. Well, I can't wait to actually read this journal, so thank you so much for the copy and thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having us.